We are living through Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May. And so this morning we were talking about internet addiction. The president of the American Psychological Association recently said that tech addiction is much like a substance abuse disorder. And in fact, here are the numbers. 90% of American adults and 96% of teenagers say they are online every day. And 46% of teens say they are online almost constantly. Dr. Sue Varma is a board-certified psychiatrist, a renowned mental health expert, and the author of Practical Optimism. Dr. Varma, thank you very much for being here. Can we be optimistic about our relationship with technology? How to help?
Yes. Well, we have to first understand that this is real, right? So when we see people who are preoccupied with using excessively the internet, who are having tolerance symptoms, or they have to use more to get the same effect, who feel a loss of control over the behavior and feel that there's disruptions in their life, so they're not able to have friendships the way they used to, they're not finding the things that they once found pleasurable as exciting as the technology. And so it's really crowding out all other interests. A book, a meal, time with friends doesn't feel as pleasurable.
Could you be addicted and not know it? Is there a certain amount of hours that you have to be on before you can say, yes, I'm addicted? Or do you think I just use it a lot, but I'm not an addict when it comes to tech?
Yeah, so there's no hard and fast rule with time. We do see that the changes in the brain, for example, when you have thinning in your cortex is related to maybe 6 or 7 hours of screen time, but it could even
a day?
Yes, but it could even be less. But the feeling is a loss of control over this, and the fact that you're not getting the same pleasure that you used to get from the same amount, so you keep doing it despite having negative consequences. That's when it's a problem.
What impact might this have, or relationship might this have with mental illness?
Yes. So it's very interesting because it's hard to know, is it a chicken or the egg? Is it that some people who are already predisposed to having mental health problems, anxiety, depression, social anxiety, that are using this as a form of self-soothing, as a form of coping? Or we also know that as a result of excessive use, of comparisons, of feelings of FOMO, we become more irritable, become angry, we become withdrawn from the people in our lives. And the problems that the internet use is causing, we then use more of it to soothe ourselves. In the beginning, it's about the pleasure, and later on it's because we don't want to feel the negative feelings of the withdrawal. Like you take a phone from a baby, that's what it feels like. They're angry, they're irritable, they're like, how dare you?
You say it's never too late for parents to set guidelines. Dr. Jonathan Haidt has been talking a lot about this, that, you know, really, if he had his way, kids wouldn't even have these cell phones. I actually think he's on to something, that at a certain age, that they shouldn't have it before the age of, say, 16, maybe even 18.
Yes.
That's what we're learning, how damaging it could be.
Absolutely.
So what can parents do? Is it too late that the horse has left the barn?
No, not at all.
No.
Totally. You know, the thought is like the cat is out of the bag.
You've got to have buy-in, though, from the kids and other parents.
All of them.
And it has to be a lot of them. You can't just
be a lot.
Because then your kid's left out.
Getting the pediatrician involved when you're going to the annual visit and making that one of the questions. How many hours are you using? Do you ever feel like it's too much? Monitor how you feel about yourself when you're using it. Is your mood low? And then showing your kids. Like, I'm at the age where I can show my kids the studies and say, hey, like, let's talk about this. I know that I gave you the phone, but like, we need to reconsider. Let's put time restrictions, because we're seeing that this generation, Gen Z and millennials, are going to have greater rates of perhaps Alzheimer's and dementia-related disorders, you know, 20, 30 years from now, in a way that people who were born in the 1950s didn't, because they had zero technology access.
For adults, other than quitting your job and taking to the woods, what can you do to treat yourself here?
So when you are equipped with this information, you're going to say to yourself, I want to hold on to all my cognitive resources and my faculties. I don't want my attention to go down. I don't want my memory to go down, which will happen, learning, all of that. So you have to be super intentional, limiting the use and saying, I have an insight timer, like a check on my phone that says, you've been on Instagram for an hour, do you want to get off right now? And then I have to be intentional about the use, not having this as the first thing that you start in the morning, not having it as the last thing that you do at night. Create what I call oasis moments. These are sacred spaces built into your day, whether it's mealtime, whether it's yoga, whatever you have to do.
Dr. Varma,
be intentional.
Yes.